Welcome to Harry's Hook. I am a journalist, big fan of boxing. I've written published articles on it. I also train and spar. Tank vs. Frank delivered on the explosive action we anticipated, particularly at the end. Gervonta began his walkout song with Ghostbusters, ultimately foreshadowing what was to come. In today's video, I'm going to analyze the fight, discuss what we learned about Tank Davis, and talk about what could be, or really should be, next. We saw some competitive rounds, but Frank Martin ultimately was walking a tightrope that ended via 8th round demolition, which is pretty much what this channel predicted. And really, at the end of the day, Gervonta Davis has a deep reservoir of boxing experience and refined craft. His muscle memory will be a bit quicker. His ring IQ and adaptability, more fluid. I expect Davis to set up and connect with his mid-range traps and wind up stopping Martin perhaps somewhere in the later rounds. Sure, 8th round is more like late middle rather than just late, but I'm counting it. Frank Martin started off pretty well, moving, using his jab and straight left. He landed a nice clean 1-2-1 in the third and really banked the first 3 rounds. Tank was looking a bit rusty, but applied heavy pressure that increased throughout the fight, and Martin really failed to earn his respect, and that pressure sapped the ghost of his energy as the fight progressed. Tank also had tried shoulder rolls and slips and counters, but as Martin started to feel Gervonta's power, even when the punches were mostly blocked, you could tell he got a bit gun-shy and was reacting a lot to Davis's feints. Part of the intelligence that Tank displayed as he pressed forward was at times he'd drop his hands low. That's not just mind games. Keeping your hands high as you pressure has the benefit of providing more protection, but it also means your opponent has a clear line of sight on your fists, can more easily use their jab to keep your hands at bay, and can predict your angles like Kendrick Lamar. Keeping the gloves low is risky because you're not as protected, your hands are further from the target, but it also means your punches will travel along more unorthodox trajectories. It makes you less predictable. I think that spooked the ghost and made him a bit more hesitant. Alright, we've got to break down that sensational knockout. But first, if you enjoy this content, do me a solid, like the video, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on my latest analysis and commentary. I appreciate your support. Tank had really taken control in the rounds leading up to the 8th. In fact, according to CompuBox, he landed more power shots than Frank from the 4th round on, and he kept forcing Martin to the ropes. Here in the 8th, he corralled Frank to the corner once again and started to just maul him. He gave a little space, fired a decoy lead hook, followed by the rear uppercut. Martin was rocked and a sitting duck for Davis's final blow, which ended the evening. But that decoy lead hook, rear uppercut, is a clever combo that we saw Canelo use to score a knockdown against Jaime Munguia just last month. Frank Martin is a skilled and athletic boxer who had not been dropped before this. But now Gervonta is 30-0 with 28 knockouts and over 93% KO rate. What we learned, or perhaps just affirmed, is that at this point, Tank Davis is the most electrifying knockout artist in the sport of boxing. I know some of you might say, no, Harry, what are you talking about? Artur Beterbiev is 20-0 with 20 knockouts, you're out of your mind. Listen, I love me some Beterbiev, and he bludgeons opponents into oblivion. But Tank, with his speed, accuracy, variety, and slick counters, scores absolute highlight reel knockouts. And he just added another one to his resume. Tank threw almost 100 punches fewer than Martin, but was more accurate across the board. And he landed over 53% of his power shots. It's not just the raw force of Gervonta's hands, but his precision, and landing right on targets like the chin or liver that make him such a menace. Alright, what's next? A rematch against Ryan Garcia? I don't know, Tank beat him pretty handily, and for my money, hits harder than Ryan, is more skilled, has a higher boxing IQ. It would be a fun fight, don't get me wrong, but a rematch there is not my first choice. Tank versus Loma would be exciting, no doubt about it, Lomachenko really is no longer in his prime, but again, I would definitely be interested in that battle. At the end of the day, though, from a competition standpoint, it's Gervonta versus Shakur. That's the fight to make. Those are the two gunslingers who must duel it out. Now, maybe that's not the most action-packed bout of these options, but I do believe that those are the two best lightweights on the planet. And thus far, it would be a career-defining win for either fighter. And that right there is Harry's Hook. Let me know what you thought of the fight, what you want next for Tank, comment below.